Hi, this is Bill, and you are on Finest Travel Beat with Angela and Bill. On today's video, we are taking you through our third day in Rome on the pre-cruise portion of our Disney Mediterranean cruise. In today's video, we're going to take you on an incredible journey through two of Rome's most iconic landmarks, the Castel Sant'Angelo and the Pantheon. We're going to tell you how we booked it, what our thoughts were, give you a little bit of history behind it, and hopefully help you make the most of your time in Rome. Thank you again for watching, and welcome back to the channel if you've been watching these videos. This is part 3 on our pre-cruise stay in Rome. We will have additional videos on our stops, which included Malta, Crete, Sicily, Mallorca and Spain, several stops in Greece, including Athens and Santorini. Now, our first stop of the day is going to be the Castel Sant'Angelo. We were originally going to see this on the day we landed, except it was a long day. It was a long flight from the United States. We got to the hotel. We kind of would have had to rush because our room wasn't quite ready when we got to the hotel, and we got some lunch. So we decided to put it off for a couple of days, and we were able to get tickets in the morning. We got a taxi from our hotel, which was very simple. The doormen were excellent in helping us get a taxi. We did not find our lack of knowing Italian to be much of a hindrance. When it was, we used Google Translate. Also, Angela learned a little bit of Italian before she left. She is of Italian origin or Italian descent, so she knew some from when she was growing up from grandparents, and then taught herself a little bit more before we left, so we can, just at least say please, thank you, things like that in their native language. The ride to the Castel Sant'Angelo from our hotel, which is the San Bernini, Bristol, it's probably about 15 to 20 minutes. Taxis are readily available and pretty easy to get. The only thing that we'll point out is that you cannot hail taxis like you would in the United States on the street. You'd need to go to a taxi dispatching location. You can find those on Google Maps or Apple Maps, whatever you have. They're pretty easy to locate, and also if you ask people, they'll point you in the direction. The Castel Sant'Angelo is located right on the Tiber River. Absolutely beautiful location. It's right next to the Vatican. I'll go into a little bit more about the history of Castel Sant'Angelo as we go through the video, but you will recognize immediately the iconic bridge that goes over the Tiber River. This was the filming location for the movie Angels and Demons. It's also been the filming location for quite a few other films over the years. Now, the statues are absolutely beautiful. Now, one thing I'll mention to you is that the bridge going across the Tiber River, as you can see, there are plenty of street vendors, people dressed up like Roman soldiers. They're probably the same ones that you'd find dressed up as Superman in Times Square. Again, this is a pickpocket-prone location as well. People are not paying attention. They're taking pictures. The pickpockets in Rome are a different level of good. So make sure you have your bag secured. Keep everything close to you. Take as little as possible. Maybe a credit card, some cash. Just pay attention to your surroundings. Now you can see here when we visited, there was construction going on. Quite a bit of construction was going on in Rome due to the upcoming Jubilee year. Now, we booked through Viator, being that it was the last minute. You can see here we are actually inside the castle. We met somebody. It was an audio guide tour, which means it wasn't a person guiding us. And quite frankly, it wasn't even really an audio guide. He gave us a app to download that gave some information. So we had to use our own device and our own headphones. But still, it was really nice to walk around in the grounds, and we listened to some of the information at the various stations. Going to give you a little history as we walk through the castle at this point. The castle itself was originally commissioned in 135 AD and completed in 139 AD by the Emperor Hadrian. It was constructed originally as a mausoleum for himself and his family. It's had quite a history over 2,000 years. And here you can see are some of the original things, that ruins that were found around Italy, different inscriptions, fascinating history in here. These are little rooms on the first level that you can kind of walk into and see some of the things as they have done excavations on the site. Over its 2,000-year history, it has held a lot of transformations. By the 5th century, it was transformed into a fortress to defend Rome against barbarian invasions. There were a lot of walls built. So as you go through the castle, you'll see various different eras and various different things that were done to the castle over the centuries. As you can see, walking around, there are various rooms that explain a lot of the history and which you are walking through and what you're seeing, as well as with the audio guide. If we had to do it over again, like most of the other things we would do, we would pick a small group or private tour. There is so much to see in Rome, and when you're walking by, even if looking at the different plaques and information, it's really kind of hard to grasp it. So when you have somebody in a small group that's really explaining to you, it's very cool. Now, the one thing I will point out is that the ground, as you can see, is pretty uneven. Not a lot of handrails in Europe. There really aren't a lot of handrails. It's not the most handicap accessible place in the world. It's long ramps around. So the castle itself is about 300 feet tall. That's probably about 30 stories. 20 to 30 stories, depending on the height construction. Even though it was summertime, it was not very warm in here. It was kind of insulated, I guess. So while that wasn't an issue, again, if you have mobility issues, take your time. It's pretty high up, so you'll get a little bit winded, and you get a little bit of a break on the way down. As you head up, you're going to find various alcoves and rooms that are going to have artifacts from Roman history. You'll also find the gift shop, and then at the top there's some places where you can sit down and grab some food, and then also look out at the beautiful city views. Climbing to the top of this is worth it, even if it's just for the city views. Now, interestingly, the Castel Sant'Angelo took over a new role as a papal residence in the 14th century. Pope Nicholas connected the fortress to St. Peter's Basilica via Passetto di Borgia, which is a secret passageway that provided safe route from the Pope in times of danger. Several popes did seek refuge in the fortress during turbulent times, including Pope Clement. It was used not only as a residence, but a strategic location for the papacy. As we go through, I just want to show you some of the artifacts and things. Here is models that were built of the castle and the grounds, to kind of show you what it looked like over the years. Plenty of information. Up here is an absolutely amazing spot to go to. It wraps fully around the cylindrical shape of the castle, and there's various porticos here where you can see pretty much all of Rome. There you can see a beautiful view of the Tiber River. Looking to the right, you can see over to St. Peter's Basilica, the Vatican. Right there is you can see St. Peter's right there, pointing out how close we are to the Vatican there. Also, towards the top there is some seating. You can see people getting some food, sitting down, having a little bit of a drink or a light lunch. Really nice spot up there. If you can find one of these areas to sit in, look out over the Tiber River and look out over Italy. What a really nice way to spend an afternoon. And just take you in for a quick second to the little, it says it's a bar, but it's really more of a restaurant where you can get some food, some to go, some light bites. There's pictures on the wall of some of the famous people that have visited here. You get yourself some water, soda, some light snacks, light fare. And up here we'll show you some of the papal apartments. Absolutely amazing artwork and architecture. Pretty much every place you go in Rome, there's history, there's art. It's almost overwhelming. There's just so much to see and so much to take in. Again, I'm going to tell you, if you're doing a cruise or you go into Rome, give yourself at least 3 days before you cruise or your travels to really see Rome. You're going to need pretty close to a full day at the Vatican. You're going to need pretty much a full day to visit the Colosseum. I have videos on both of those in this series. Just so much taken. We were there 3 days. We could probably go back for another week, and we could probably go back for another week after that just to enjoy the food. Without a tour guide, I would say we probably spent about an hour and a half at the Castel Sant'Angelo. We did not eat anything. We got a little bit of a drink, but we decided we wanted to walk from here over to the Pantheon, where we had tickets later in the day. We took a nice stroll along the Tiber River, used again our phone. Google Maps worked excellent here. And we stopped at the Piazza Navona, which is one of the famous squares in Rome. It is a touristy area in here, plenty of restaurants. The fountains and a lot of the stuff when we visited last year were being renovated again in preparation for the Jubilee year of 2025. So this is a year where pilgrims from all over the world go to Rome. It gets a little bit more crowded, but everything is kind of updated in anticipation for it. Now, we did not eat in the Piazza Navona. We went about a block away to one of the side streets. I forget the name of the place we stopped at, but the pizza was excellent. The food here in general is amazing. Kind of what we do, though, is we keep walking until there's a place where they're not bothering us coming to the restaurant. Then we sit down and eat there. That's usually the less touristy places. Next, we have one of the most iconic places in the world, is the Pantheon. We got to the area in front of the Pantheon about a half an hour before our tour began. We stopped at a very famous deli, got a little bit of food there. It's called Antica Solomaria. It's located right next to it. Amazing little spot, pretty crowded. Meats hanging from the ceilings, cheeses, antipasti, plenty of stuff there. The sandwiches look fantastic. We had just eaten pizza, so we didn't get another sandwich, but the sandwich looked absolutely fantastic. Just to give you a little background on the Pantheon, the reason why I do this is to show you, the historical significance and why you really should visit here. It was originally commissioned by Marcus Agrippa around 27 BC. This structure now was built by Emperor Hadrian. You may remember him for the castle we just came from, about 120 AD after the original was destroyed by fire. The name Pantheon is derived from Greek. It means all gods. This was kind of the first all faiths church, ecumenical churches, if you will. The Pantheon is an absolutely incredible structure, the way it was built. You see the domed roof. It is one of the largest dome roofs in the world. I believe it may be the largest domed roof, concrete, non-supported roof. But the whole building is shaped in a ball, and the inside's a perfect sphere. Again, just amazing architecture. It does get very, very crowded. There's time to entry tickets. Book these far in advance. Book yourself a tour as well. We booked our tour through Viator. If I had to do it again, I would probably do it through Project Expedition and book it earlier. We weren't really thrilled with our tour guide. He thought he was more of a stand-up comedian than a tour guide. He was originally from Chicago, I believe. I really want to hear the history from somebody who was there and not somebody that's kind of cracking, quite honestly, pretty inappropriate jokes. Now, at the top is the oculus, which is a opening in the dome's apex. It allows natural light to flood the interior, lighting up different parts of the room as the day goes by. Amazing engineering. Yes, it does rain in here. In the floor, the floor is sloped in certain ways, and there are drainage areas. But again, if you're in there when it rains, just be a little bit careful. Marble and water don't really mix all that well. Now, I'm going to try to keep this video series a little bit shorter, so I highly recommend you watch one of the dozens of videos that are on, or hundreds of videos on the Pantheon, on the history of it. Before you go into Rome, I highly recommend not just watching tourist stuff, but learning the history behind these places. It gives you a greater appreciation for what you're witnessing. Just there's way too much to take in. There is a tomb of Victor Emmanuel, the founder of modern Rome. That there is the tomb of the famous Renaissance artist Raphael. We spent about an hour in the Pantheon on the tour. Again, it does get crowded. There are timed entries. They didn't rush us leaving, but after we left, we just kind of walked back to our hotel. Again, everything is uphill, and Angela had to stop and get a little bit more gelato here. We headed back to the hotel afterwards, had a little bit of dinner because we had an early day the next day. Thank you so much for watching. Our trip to Rome and the Mediterranean was absolutely amazing. We have probably another dozen videos to do. We have 3 up. So if you want to see those, definitely hit that subscribe button. Please like this video if you've gotten value out of it. We try to keep them fairly short, give you information that you need. So, and also you can feel free to share with your friends. It really helps us out. But again, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, we'll see you on a next adventure. Bye-bye, everybody.